San Diego, known for being a Navy town, the Coronado Bridge, Seaport Village, and home for local media San Diego. These are the studios for
4 stations in the building. We have Big, 91X, 90.3, and 92.5. So it's our 4 stations we have here. 3 of our stations are in Mexico. The transmitters in Mexico. Our KFBG is up in Mount Soledad, so we'll be visiting that transmitter because I don't do transmitters in Mexico. International laws, I can't, weird stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Just a side note here, after my tour of the studios and transmitter site, KFBG was sold to Lotus Media. So as my host Dean Imhoff noted, the signals for the station are all located in Mexico and transmit from south of the border. Z90.3 is actually XHITZ-FM. 91X, which I've known 91X from when I was little, is XETRA-FM. And Magic 92.5 is XHRM-FM. Mexican broadcast stations have their call signs with the prefix X. This is actually a very interesting situation, and the history of some of these stations goes back years through the hands of several different owners. But the short history is that these stations have their studios in the United States and the transmitter sites in Mexico. Local Media San Diego doesn't own the broadcast licenses, but leases the signals from a company called Comunicación Sursa. The transmitter site for these stations is on Mount San Antonio in Tijuana. We'll visit KFBG's transmitter site at Mount Soledad in San Diego in another video. And we're not going to be going to Mexico in this video, although that would be kind of interesting and fun. Outside of the scope of this video. So let's start our tour at the studios located in the Sorrento Valley area of San Diego.
So we're using NextGen, just like most radio studios, using NextGen. We put the audio servers in the control rooms in here because I hate to say it, but I don't like the DJs touching my audio servers or my control or my backup control rooms. Production rooms, they all have their NextGen machines in the rooms, but my control rooms and my audio servers are in here. I like that much better because I can see which machine is messed up first very quickly. We have redundancy. We have 2 audio servers for each station. And then we have a control room for each station. Then I got a backup sitting over there in case something happens to one of my NextGen machines. I can just pull it out, change the IP address, put another one in, and we're back on the air just like that. That's one thing I like about NextGen. I hate to see that they're going away, but they are. We also have all of our streaming apparatuses in here. So we have a stream on all 4 of our radio stations, and believe it or not, our stream is probably getting as many or more listeners.
That's really good.
Yeah. So we PPM encode both our terrestrial stations and our stream stations. Arbitron does what they do. They kind of parse them together and say, okay, this is streaming, this, and then they kind of go overall. They do whatever algorithm they do that gives us the ratings and stuff like that. So over the years, streaming was kind of a side note. Nowadays, it's like a big deal.
Yeah.
So we have about 3-4 years ago, we decided that we are going to make our stream stations as reliable and as replaceable as our terrestrial stations, because we're getting as many listeners or more, especially 91X. 91X has been on the air as 91X for over 40 years. So we have a serious listenership of all the people who lived in San Diego, heard 91X, moved away, and I hear from them still today when something goes on with the stream. They're, hey, what's wrong with the stream? So we are touching a lot of people's ideas and hearts with that as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so our streams are as important nowadays as our terrestrial stations. So we try to, all of our stream machines are really high-end computers as well. We have a redundant backup, so if any of these streams goes down, I have a machine that's built already. All I have to do is pop it out, put it in, and tell what radio station it's broadcasting from. I even got the same audio cards, so just unplug one, plug in the other, we're back on the air with the stream. And that has made a big difference in our confidence that we're getting out to as many people as we can.
Yeah.
yeah, so we do encode both the streams and the terrestrials. We get to our transmitter sites in all 3 stations via a 3 megabit metro line. So it's all using our codecs here.
Okay.
We have them set to full wave files. They are full wave files are 1.3 meg per side. So we do 1.3 up, 1.3 back. We don't receive anything, but we do use the 1.5 full on to go to the transmitters.
Right.
Once it gets to the transmitters, then we go through our processing and so forth and so on. So we're using the DASDAC EAS system. I love this system. I've not had any problems with it. Anytime I've needed to do software updates, it's, oh yeah, sure, we'll send that to you. Okay, update it, which is a really nice thing. We did recently, because the FCC rules required us to have the CAPS system functional and working. So we did have to, and they also wanted to prioritize CAPS over, local terrestrial stations.
Yeah.
So we had to get this thing updated. So we updated it, and it's been compliant ever since. I get the emails saying, hey, this needs to be changed. So I jump on it and say, okay, let's get it changed. So instead of updating the old one, the hardware is getting too old. So we just ended up sending it to them and say, okay, here's our old one. Give us a new one with all the, new whistles and bells. We pay the difference, It was a trade-up. I think they called it a trade-up program or something like that. So we got this back. It's been on the air ever since. We actually listened to 3 terrestrial stations here in San Diego. Kogo, KLSD. That's KLSD. What is it? KLDS. It's a Cleartown station. It's the 1360. Unfortunately, it doesn't come in. It doesn't come in very good anywhere. So our local EAS market has pretty much said you can kind of ignore your primary 2. So we have it, 1360. We just don't use it as much, and that keeps us compliant because we got Kogo and we got weather station. We also have to listen to the marine band weather channel as well. Then we go into our 2 racks for our SAS system. I love it. We have one computer that basically monitors and controls and everything we need there. And we keep it in a really tight, packed, system. As you said, I don't like a big, huge rack room. I don't have a big rack room. This is all our inner office. This is not only our automation system, but this is also for our office people, internet. These are the servers for all the Outlook, and, emails and all that kind of stuff. So when we got this, I was going to go back here. So I don't know if you want to see wires.
I always like seeing wires.
So one of the, when we built this building, customized for radio, because when we bought it, it was basically an empty shell. So we put all the walls up, I can go into detail later. I'm just going to say we because I was kind of part of it. But like I said, if you have any questions about that later, I'll answer them. But so everything was put in with the intention of this is how we're going to run it. We have next gen. We actually were doing, this is all of our logic stuff. One of the things that we do that a lot of people don't do. And it's the only way our program directors like it. Each time there's a module or each time there's a audio file that plays on the next gen system, it turns the module on. And when it's done, it turns it off. So you can sit there and see the thing rotate through and turn on and off. And then we also have the logic, if you push the button on the board, it actually fires the next event in next gen. And we do that because we are automated, but a lot of times we're live assist. We have DJs in the room that love to push buttons and keep things tight. They'll go in there, they'll hit it, they'll talk and all that kind of stuff. So give them the max flexibility for them to have their creative juices flowing. They have fingers on the board. They can say, okay, this is what's going on. Boom, 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 and stuff like that. And they love that. And so, of course, has some problems because sometimes the optos don't fire and then one of the modules don't turn on. But, considering how many times these modules turn on and off each day, they're actually doing quite good. So every now and then one won't turn on, but we just got to hit the button and it'll turn on and it'll keep on going. And I think we'll have one not turn on in maybe 8 months. So
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so considering as they're going through each time, I've had to replace the GPIO boards in each of the next gen machines because the relays wear out. So I replaced all of those to keep that going. We do have direct TV in the building. We don't have any kind of other cable, so we actually have the direct TV hub in here as well. Of course, our antenna system, we have a single antenna up on the roof that lets us pick up all of our air signals. We have it going into our radios in the building. Of course, that serves two purposes. The DJs can see I have the last meter on the board constantly showing air. They don't listen to it because it's delayed like a second and a half, so it drives them crazy. But they can see it moving. 91X has kind of adopted the idea they leave their monitors in air, their headphones in local programming.
Okay.
So they can, when they're not talking, they hear what's going on in the air. So, which allows us to say, hey, we're off the air like right away, rather than, oh yeah, I didn't even know that. So, we got to we got people that we have to keep them comfortable and such like that. So we have an antenna system. We have each one of our program directors and managers all have radios in their room that actually have antenna plugged into the back that comes from this distribution section here.
Nice.
It was very interesting because when we first got this building, we only had 3 stations. Okay, and we added another station. So with another station, we had to throw in some extra production rooms. So we just kind of threw them wherever rooms we could. So this was not here 4 years ago. So we actually had to build the studio to handle another production person to come in to help, the load of the commercials and such like that when we bought KFBG. So this is our, typical setup. This is interesting because some of our talent people, they like to be able to sit. She's production, so she likes to sit the whole time. The rest of our studios mostly are stand-up ports. One of our other Z90 has a platform like this that we built in, so you can sit and control the board as needed. So this is one of our production. This is our one of our production rooms. 3 microphones, so we can have clients come in and do their parts.
Have you ever had an audio issue that just made you upset? Ah! But don't worry, because one of the sponsors for today's video has you covered, Angry Audio. Angry Audio offers all sorts of gadgets and gizmos, from headphone disconnectors to prevent you from ripping the headphone jack right out of the console, to mic processors and software to make your streams sound amazing. In fact, I'm a customer of Angry Audio, and I'm using the Chameleon C6S software processor on this video. But I want to focus on something specific, the Angry Audio Rave. No, that's not some hot new nightclub in New York. It's their powerful yet affordable audio console built for radio stations just like yours. The Rave has 8 stereo line inputs, up to 4 microphone inputs, 2 output mix buses, 2 mix minus outputs, a monitor feed for your control room, and so much more. The Rave is made of anodized aluminum, and it has avionic style switches, silky smooth faders, and tally outputs for your on-air light, because you don't like it when people walk in when you're on the air. And the Rave isn't just for radio stations. It can also be used for podcasts. Get major market quality at small market prices. Learn more at angryaudio.com. Thank you, Angry Audio, for sponsoring this video. Hi, I'm going to take a moment here and recognize the sponsor of today's video, LinkUp Communications. When your content has to get to your audience, you can count on their content distribution using XDS and other industry-leading platforms. LinkUp has provided distribution solutions with the highest degree of reliability for over 3 decades. If you're wanting more information about their services or just who are they, visit their website at linkupcommunications.com. And now, back to the video.
Okay, this is our Z90 studio. and we're really embracing the whole podcasting thing. Our morning show, Morning in the Morning, Rick Morton, he really wants to try to get into the YouTube world as well. So we made modifications to the room that you don't normally see in some of the other studios. This turns into a big logo back here. As you can see, we have cameras, 3 cameras in here, plus there's a camera in there where D-Rock is at. And so Rick sits in here and does everything he needs. We had to, because we're doing podcasts, we had to lower all the studio monitors down so you can see over the top of each other. So when Adina, which is one of the co-hosts, she sits down and starts talking, we can see her face in the other camera. So they really jumped into the world of trying to get the podcasting for the morning show going. And it's kind of neat. We've gotten a lot of information, a lot of hits on the website for them, you know. It's amazing how social media has just boomed so much into the radio world. It's really integrated into the radio world. You know?
Yeah.
So anyhow, those are all controlled. Now we used to actually have a separate room that was nothing but the digital studio that, you know, somebody would sit in there and actually switch cameras and stuff like that. You know, we don't do that anymore, so Adina actually has all the camera controls so she can switch to different cameras manually as she's talking and such like that, and it saved her a lot of time because she would have to go through and post-edit, you know, get all the shots when somebody's talking. Now she just hits the button and they keep on going. Less work for her in that case. Yeah, so this is another room that was, you know, this is one of the original rooms that was built when we took on this side of the building. It's got the padding on it. As you can see, it's pretty dead in here. Window just so he can see D-Rock over there. Lighting all comes on. He has switches. He flips on the lights when he needs to do his podcast, so you get the good camera light that it needs.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is our Z90 studio. So these ones are the ones that really embrace the whole podcasting thing, you know, video streams as well as their audio stream. The other radio stations haven't quite got there yet, you know. So we'll see how we go. And then this is something you probably don't see often. Well, you do. Not a lot of other people. This is one of our cool rooms. How many times have you seen this many records and CD players inside a room here? So 91X has been playing, I'm just going to get out of the way so you can get a picture of that. 91X has been playing music, and like I said, they've been around for 40 years. So when we first went on the air, they basically kept all the important music that we're having on either CD or record. And since records are starting to come back, I actually had to install a record player in Z91X. So he actually does a Resurrection Sunday, which he plays nothing but
That's pretty cool.
records.
That is really incredible.
We're doing a tour,
man.
We're doing a tour. This is Marcus O'Rourke. This is
Nice to meet you,
D-Rock.
Marcus.
Good to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, man.
So yeah, this is you know, like I said, this whole building's SAS. This is something we had to do. This started off as an analog board also, and this is one of the things we
Sorry
had.
for the heater, man.
Oh, no. Oh. I was wondering why my legs
If your legs are getting a little warm,
We
yeah.
actually, instead of rebuilding the entire furniture, we put this 1/4-inch aluminum plate in here to basically make the room, or make the hole for the board smaller.
Oh, nice.
And you can see how much smaller this board is compared to the one that was in here. You can see where the aluminum is here, you know, and I tried to keep it as clean as possible as I could. I had to do some filing. I got perfect measurements and then filed it down a little bit to get it fit, and that's fine. And it's been pretty reliable, actually. You know, we like it. It hasn't really moved.
Full-on fabrication.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, seriously. I remember the day that they were going to install these boards, and I was like, how? Okay, I don't know.
Exactly. So, anyways, yeah. So this is the Z90 production room. Plus, you know, as he's producer.
Yeah,
he's
basically.
producer.
Co-host and producer.
Yeah, co-host and producer for the morning show, the Hey Morton morning show.
Yeah.
You can see them on YouTube too. So anyhow, this is another one of the original rooms, and like I said, if you ask questions later, I'll answer you how all this came together and how I got involved. But I don't know how detailed you want to get, but I'd be more than happy to answer the questions
However
later.
detailed you want. Good to meet you.
Good to meet
Thanks,
you, too,
D-Rock.
man. Thank you for your time, man.
Thank you.
This is our other studio. Okay, now this is our bigger studio.
Okay.
And the reason why it's our biggest studio because it's one of our bigger stations. This
Got
is
it.
Magic 92.5, which has been around. The format hasn't been around for 40 years, but it's been around a long time. But we got a serious amount of people. This is, with our 4 stations, this is probably the top rating station. in most of the ratings that we get, just because of the music we play, the talent. That was the morning show. That's Jagger, the Jagger and Christie show. So he's the morning show guy. And then the other people, Javier, he's talented. One of the things that we're trying to do, and I know this is not a community video, it's an engineering video, but one of the things we really want to do for the radio world is we try to stay in touch with our community, because there's so many radio stations that have lost touch with their community. They don't get involved in local stuff anymore. They run from corporate. One of the things that our strong point is that we're still part of the community, and we do all sorts of things to keep us involved. Because, in my opinion, that's what radio's for.
Absolutely.
We're supposed to be an extended part of the community, and we're supposed to, according to the FCC rules, we're supposed to be a public service. So we feel that part of our public service is to be part of the public service of the public.
Right.
So another SAS board, Next Gen, Vox Pro. We use these have been around for I think 12, 13 years now.
A little while.
Yeah, until us the next 12s. We still use them here. I've had to repair many of them.
Yeah, it's really nice to see you have a lot of equipment that's in here, and just it's very, I don't want to say retro, but it's what radio used to be.
Yes, it feels like radio. Anytime,
Yes.
as soon as you walk into this building, it feels like radio. And
Yes.
it's another thing that I really, really like. That's one thing. This is Javier. He's our mid-morning
you
person.
Met him outside.
Oh, did you?
at the
Oh, there you
entry,
go.
You guys want to finish?
Oh, yeah. You can hop in here. Go ahead.
Oh, sure?
Yeah. He got pictures of the board. Did you want to get close-ups of the board before we walk out for B-roll?
I'm just kind of
You could.
taking a look.
Yeah, you could. If you want to come back here, you could.
No, you're good. I don't want to be in your way.
No, you're not in my way. Not at all. I just finished doing a meeting with a client, so.
Ah, gotcha. Javier is another one of my technical-minded DJs that I can talk tech with sometimes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
Those are hard to find sometimes.
No, we sometimes we get into deep conversations about things because I want to learn,
Yeah.
And Dean has great knowledge about all this stuff. And so being on radio, but technically like how everything works.
Yeah.
And I always want to know how everything works.
Yeah.
But he knows I won't touch it. Because sometimes it's stuff, I've been in radios where I'm trying to fix things, and the engineer's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, you were at breakfast or something like that." So I'm like, I learned my lesson years ago when I started radio. I was like, call the engineer and just back off. So, but he's always there, and I'll hotline him sometimes, like, Dean,
Help.
I can't, the computer's frozen. I'll just boot it up again. It'll come back on. Can I do that? Yeah, you could do that. So, I always say respect the engineer. It's like when things go crazy, call the engineer. He's gonna fix it. So, Yeah.
one of the things as a engineer is I am more than willing to give information. If I can give him even a brief bit of knowledge that he can feel comfortable, and you've gotten better.
Yeah.
You've gotten a lot better. I'm more than happy to give that knowledge to them. Number one, it keeps me from having to come in here at 2:00 in the morning. And number two, it empowers them so they feel more comfortable around the gear so that they don't think, oh my gosh, I'm going to break something. Well, if you break it, this is kind of how you fix it. Oh, just like that? And he says, yeah, that's just like that. And I think that's the best way to be as an engineer. I don't know if you want to be, as old engineers and
Right.
don't touch nothing. Because it just doesn't work that way. So,
right. And things are like a lot more easier than they were,
Yeah. Yeah, when we first built this building, it was all PRNE analog boards. So it was several weeks of me and a couple people that I contracted in to come in here and just rip out the old analog stuff, replace it with all the digital stuff, get the boards updated and functional, and it turned out really well. I still like to mess with the. Like him. I've had to do to him. The board has a problem, and will be on the air. I just unplug the board. The board goes dead. He starts to panic because in the old analog days, that means you're off the air.
Yeah.
Here, with the router in the back, it keeps playing as long as it knows what it's supposed to be done. So it's like, oh my gosh, the board's dead. Well, no, yeah, but don't watch this. I plug it back in, everything comes back up, modules are on, and everything's turned on and off like it's supposed to. So, which is a nice thing about the whole digital world is exactly that. Makes it much easier. So, anyhow, I know you got to get on the air, but yeah, this is our Magic 925.
This is where the magic happens, right
That's
here.
where the magic happens.
And it's live, people. Nobody from New York.
That's
We're
right.
right here in San Diego. We live here in the community.
Yeah, he is a big pillar of the community. He really is. I mean, you say Javier, everybody knows him.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, oh yeah, I know Javier. I've seen him at the car show, or I've seen him at the fundraiser over here, and having that connection to the community is one of his strong points. So everybody knows who Javier is. So that's nice. So
I'm gonna run for mayor one year.
there you go. You probably win if you listen. You probably would win.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is our production, or this is our producer room for Magic. So we actually have a producer who hangs out in here.
Oh, I just realized where we're at now. Okay.
Yeah. So he actually hangs out in here, answers phones, screens calls, can set up next steps. We have the audio coming in here. He can actually go on the air as well if needed. The one thing nice about these routable boards is anybody can be anywhere at any time. So I can put Magic Studio into another room just to flip up a button or a few switches. So that's what he is. So he'll answer calls, like I said, screen them, and then we have intercom. All of SAS boards have our intercom built into them. So he'll just call up and say, hey, we have our winner, dialed in, pick him up on line 4 or whatever it is, and I'll pick it up. So, like I said, again, it's a little small thing, but it's very functional.
Yeah.
We try to put every we can into a small space and keep it as functional as we possibly can. So, again, we went ahead and got, every studio has this kind of stuff on it to help bust up the audio bounce around. This is in case for some reason at one point we had, turn the lights on here so you can see. At one point we did have a producer for the morning show for 91X. This is kind of where he sat, does, basic talking, At one point we had a phone in here. He can answer phones, but it just kind of moved on from there, and it's not just like a real simple production room now.
Okay.
Somebody can come in here, get the internet, grab the internet, record a couple commercials directly into NextGen, the automation system. And so this, turned into kind of a utility room. Small little thing, but it's functional.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I don't know if it's the manliest thing to say, but that's a cute little board.
Yes, it is. It is. Those little boards are pretty fun. Okay, get your shot. She's on the air. This is Hillary. This is Marcus.
How are you?
Hi, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, this is 91X. This is the one that's been here for 40 years.
Yes.
Wow.
And you can see the personality in here. This is radio at the core. This is what it does. So.
Yeah, we gotta have good.
And Hillary has been doing this a long time. Her and I met first time 1997, I think it was.
Yes, that's when I started here.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've known each other that long, so she's a sweetheart. And,
Yes, Dean's my
and
buddy.
she's an ultimate professional when it comes to being a DJ. So and she's a music director as well.
Thank you.
Nice. So anyhow, get your shots and we'll let her get back to her show.
Oh, thank you. That's okay. You do whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
Sure, of course.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, you too. You too. I love what you're doing. That's super cool.
So,
Thanks.
Lingual period is what's missing these days, comma, and it does make a difference. Come on in, guys. What's happening?
okay, this is Marcus O'Rourke.
Let me say bye to Kat for a second.
Anyhow, so.
Hi.
Welcome. Good to see you.
This is R-Dub. He's our program director for Z90 and Magic.
Okay.
He's also our afternoon DJ guy.
Have you ever been in a foreign consulate before? Or no?
Yeah.
No, well.
I'll let you explain that too. if you
It's
want
too
to.
long of a story, but I welcome you. You're in the sovereign office right here.
Very good. I didn't bring my passport.
Welcome to the station.
Thank you so much. Good to meet you.
Don't steal any of our proprietary information.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, and this is my storage shelf. One of the interesting things that what happened and is part of this whole interesting world is KFBG used to be KFMB.
Okay.
So about 3-4 years ago now, we bought it. LMSD bought it. So the interesting caveat is I was working at KFMB for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the stuff that was done there, I'm the one that either kept it running or put new stuff in and such like that. So just like any other broadcast engineer, you need to just understand part of the world is that you will build an empire then have to tear it all apart again to move it somewhere else. So
KFMB, the AM station, right?
AM and FM.
Oh, there's an FM too. Okay.
Yeah. This was the KFMB FM.
Okay.
KFMB AM we bought and then we turned around and sold it to iHeart.
Okay.
So iHeart has that signal now.
Got it.
So, but what we ended up doing is, like I said, a lot of this gear that you see here was at KFMB. So me and a bunch of promotions, whatever, went over there and just started stripping the racks. And this is something I've been building for 6 years. Yeah. And it's like, I remember that took like days to get that wiring, path done. Oh my gosh, I remember that amplifier. So, that's just part of the deal. So when we bought the radio stations, we turned around and sold half of it to iHeart. So they got half of the equipment, we got half the equipment.
Okay.
So this everything here is functional. I don't want to just sell it all because there has been times where I've saved us, several $100s because an amplifier goes out. So it's like, I got one on the shelf. I got that. Intercom panels. I've had to install and uninstall that a couple times depending on people working here and such like that. So this is all spare parts. Like I said, everything here is functional. Even the CD player.
Nice. Well, that's one of the tray-loaded ones too.
Yes,
Not
exactly.
the cartridge ones.
Yeah, exactly. So, there has been times I've tapped into this, but most of the time it kind of sits here and I get grief from the general manager says, this is all recycling. This all gets recycled. This I'm keeping. So this is going to be recycled. That's I'm keeping. But that's the way it works.
Nice.
So this is my little room here. And as you were saying on one of your videos, broadcast engineers have to keep track of the transmitter, which is what I do with this little box right here, or this little screen right. This is an actual live Burke ARC 1. Mm-hmm. So, and I have alarm set up. So if anything crazy happens, my little computer will throw out the Star Trek red alert horn. And so I look up and I find out what the errors are. But this is actually live time. So any of the buttons that you see up there are active buttons, using the ARC Plus system by Burke. And I like this a lot. I feel a lot more comfortable because I can just glance at this and say, okay, my power is where it's supposed to be. And we'll go up there next, and you'll see that we have actually two transmitters that are combined by a switches combiner. That's a Harris product. I love that thing. So we usually actually have two transmitters, and each transmitter runs half power. So, and then it gets combined in and shoots up to the tower. So I like that functionality because it's built-in redundancy because both transmitters have the ability to produce the TPO that we need. So I can completely shut off one of the transmitters, flip everything over to the other transmitter, turn it up to high power, and we're going to be back at our TPO level. So it gives me the ability to, if one of the machines dies or has a problem, I got built-in redundancy. So
what's the advantage to running the two at half power combined?
You're not wearing out the transmitter as much because our TPO is 8.93 kilowatts.
Okay.
Those transmitters are 10 kilowatt transmitters each. So instead of just like anything, if you're pushing something hard at its design power, yes, it will handle it, but it will eventually say, okay, I'm getting worn out, I'm going to die faster. So run it at half power basically saves all the PAs, all the components, everything drops down. Now, it's not quite as efficient, but you do have the ability to, not push the transmitter as hard, because there's a lot of engineers will say, okay, we can put out 10 kilowatt transmitter power, so we're going to buy an 11 kilowatt transmitter and run it, full blow, and they're having to replace parts a lot faster because heat build up, all that kind of stuff. It just wears the transmitter out. So just like back in the old days when there was tubes, yes, I was in this business when there were tube transmitters, you turn the filament down a little bit, that makes the tube last an extra 2-3 years. And back then, those tubes were $3,000-$4,000, so having a spare tube on the shelf was rare, and in the case that we want that tube to last longer, so I'm not having to pay, $5,000 every 2 years. If I can make it last 5 years, what can I do? It's not going to reduce our TPO, but it's going to take a lot of stress off the transmitter. So it reduced the filament voltage, and that allowed it to last longer. So yes, that's the benefit of running a transmitter half power because you're not pushing it as hard. It's just coasting along. It's not even struggling. It's just like, what sweat? I have no sweat kind of thing.
Yeah. I just have never run into that of doing the two combined at half power, and it's like, okay, I'm missing something. What's what's the
Yeah.
and like you said,
Built-in redundancy and
built-in
efficiency.
redundancy
And getting the transmitters last longer.
longevity. Yeah,
longevity, yes.
So I was like, oh
Yeah. So, anyhow, my little room, of course, we do security, cameras everywhere, just, because it is radio, it gets crazy sometimes.
yeah.
I do have a router coming into here, so anything that I need to listen to, I got on my speakers over here, I can pull up any of our stations, air signal, and say, oh yeah, we are off the air. Or our program signal, oh, we are off the air, kind of stuff. So I do that from here. My little room's a mess, but it's an engineering room.
Yes,
All engineering rooms are just like this, I think.
An engineer has a clean office. Something's not right.
Yeah, they're not doing something right. Okay, then we keep on going back this way, and we run into the world of promotions. So every radio station has a promotion section. This is a promotion section. All our banners, all of our, the speakers, we're doing remotes, our tent sets and such like that. So when we actually go out and do something on site to involve the community in something that we're doing, this is what, so our promotions of people come in here just like whatever they grab, whatever they need to do either a broadcast. We've done broadcasts. We have gear for doing live broadcasts still. Or if they just need to show up, set up a tent and put a radio on, we do that too. So this is just kind of their little world. So as needed, it gets used. So this is I've been at a lot of radio stations, and this is probably one of the biggest production or promotions areas that I've seen. So
This is a big one.
yeah. Well, we got 4 stations too. That you need gear for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Although that's important, the SoCal Taco Fest.
Exactly, it's very important. Of course, sales, because that's what they always do. Sales grabs a wall over there, and says, "Oh, we need storage." All right, take that wall. It's fine. This actually used to be drug out to this. We would drag this out to when we're doing what do you call that? Or when they show up. When we're doing a promotion event, we would bring this out, so it would encourage people to come and play video games and stuff like that. But and we actually used to keep it on here, but it kept distracting people too much. Oh, hey, I'm gonna get a quick dig dug in real quick, and then they get lost and not do their job, so we had to shut it off. Not to mention this thing makes a lot of rag. I was like,
oh, that's distracting to no end.
Yeah. And then we have, of course, a little kitchen.
As I like to say, the most important room in a radio station.
Yes. So, our wallet memories, all the different crazy places we've done appearances and such. Again, the people that are working here have been working here for a long time, a lot, over 12 years, working in this business, in this radio station. So, everybody knows everybody. Everybody likes everybody. Well, mostly like everybody.
There's always someone.
Yeah.
That's all for this studio tour of Local Media San Diego. I did mention at the beginning of this video that Local Media San Diego had sold KFBG to Lotus Media, which resulted in my host, Dean Imhoff, going from full-time engineering with Local Media to a contractor. So, if you're looking for an experienced broadcast engineer and a really good guy, check out his new company, Engineering Excellence, and you can find him on LinkedIn. I'll have a link to his LinkedIn as a link in my description below. Linked. Is that enough links? Okay, yeah. A companion tour of the KFBG transmitter site on Mount Soledad is coming soon, but in the meantime, check out some of the other transmitter site tours or some of the other studio tours. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, which I'm working on, and keep learning.